Hello and welcome everyone, and welcome to game 2 of this best of 3. It's from the Zotac Cup. It is between roxkisLZ and, well, Dylayn. And Dylayn, of course, is the orange Zerg player in the top left. LZ, the purple Zerg in the lower right. And, well, map is Ahana. I'm really looking forward to this because I love casting ZvZ. It is so fun to watch. It is so enjoyable to watch. It's pretty stressful to play, but it's good. I can make up for that, so that's fine. Obviously, I feel for these two players. Anyone who has been in a Ling Bling war, as we saw, of course, in game 1, will know how stressful that can be. But LZ, one game up. I'm interested to see if Dylayn will be able to bring it back. I think it's probably going to be 2-0 to LZ. He is a really good player, so we'll wait and see what happens. Now, of course, Ahana, what are the key characteristics? Well, for a start, you've got this area here. Obviously, your natural base, easily defendable, just because this ramp quite narrow, quite shielded. Your third base is a nightmare to take just because of the rocks for Zerg, but obviously in ZvZ that doesn't matter too much, just because both players have the same problem. So in terms of strategy from these two, what can we expect? Well, in game 1 we saw, obviously, LZ go for the pool first, and Dylayn go for the hatch first, but he didn't really utilise that hatch first much, instead just going for the really early Zergling push with some banelings in there, and he really committed to that, and as a result couldn't come back. But LZ, I think he's going to stick to a pretty similar build, and actually both players going for a pool first at precisely the same time, literally identical, so that is absolutely brilliant for those two. The downside of mirror matches is though, of course, that when you do have equally timed builds, then it all comes down to skill, which can be a lot of fun. Of course, no luck at all in Ling Bling Micro, it is all down to skill. Now looking here, obviously straight away both players going to go for an expansion. LZ should get his up slightly sooner by a couple of seconds. Again, those couple of seconds may not seem like much, but again, that's a few seconds earlier you get a couple of lava, a few seconds earlier you get a couple more drones out, a few seconds earlier you get a queen out earlier, and that can compound and snowball very quickly indeed. So definitely worthwhile noting that there is a slight difference there. Both players spawning pools finishing up. The queen starts straight away for LZ. A slight delay in the queen for Dylayn though, who must have squeezed out one additional drone. Yes, he has. So that is, again, personal preference in a lot of ways. It depends on what you're wanting to do. The Overlord scouts are now just getting in, so where should you take these Overlords after? Just put them back a bit, put them about here is a good place to go with them, because ideally in ZvZ, because there isn't very much anti-air until a lot later on in the matchup, you can just literally plant Overlords everywhere between your opponent's base and your base to know exactly their movements, because the defender's advantage in ZvZ is massive just due to the lava mechanic and how you can quickly spam out a lot of units. Now, looking up here, the inject's going down, we've got the natural bases nearly finishing up now, so everything pretty good from the looks of things. I would be fairly happy if this was my game, to be honest. I'd be very happy with everything going on, and the fact that obviously the gas down for Dylayn, but no gas yet for LZ. And we saw, this is similar to what we saw in game 1. Dylayn did go for that gas a lot sooner than LZ, and as a result got speed out a lot sooner and the banelings out sooner. But LZ was able to defend it. Of course, LZ's getting a complete scout off right now. This is really good for him. Is forcing a little bit of lost mining time by pulling those drones back. Going to be a bit of harassing Zergling. And of course, that is all good play, because every time you force a couple of drones to pull back, you're wasting a couple of seconds of mining time, which slowly adds up over the course of a game. So here comes down the Spine Caller for LZ, knowing that, hey, judging by game 1, I'm probably going to get the same aggression. Yet again, 3 workers kept there in gas. The single Zergling able to survive for quite a while. Actually, will be interesting to see if it pokes back to check for the gas timings, etc. Baning Nest coming down for Dylayn again. And for LZ, he's still not taking any gas, surprisingly, only just taking his first 2 gas now. I don't know if that is scoutable. Yes, you can see one of the gas. That is quite important, being able to see that one gas. Can't see the other one though. And obviously now there's going to be that question of, hey, it's pretty safe to assume it's 2 gas, because this is a very early point in the game. To get 4 gas this early on would be pretty huge. So yeah, just know the gas is being taken. Spine Caller coming down. We've now got the second and third gas being taken by the orange Zerg player. For the purple Zerg, well, meanwhile, just happily going up, getting some roaches up. That's a really early roach timing before Baning Nest even goes down. Going for this wall-off position here, which I quite like. Actually, I think that's going to be really quite advantageous to him, especially if Dylayn was going for a similar build to game 1. The lair coming down for the orange Zerg player now. Meanwhile, no lair timing yet for LZ, who's behind in tech just due to having a lot less gas, although he's going to stay behind in gas for a long period of time, because obviously 3 gas compared to, well, 4 now, but obviously for a long period of time Dylayn was ahead in terms of the gas count. LZ starting his own lair timing now. We could see Mutas obviously off of 4 gas and 2 bases. Also could be a quick rush up into Infestors. Of course, this game was played before the Infestor change, so they are still very, very, very strong, even after the change. I've read some interesting stuff on Twitter, actually, from quite a few pro players, asked their opinions on the changes, and apparently the nicest thing about these change is that Zerg players are saying how they're no longer getting abuse for being a patch Zerg, which I think is quite cute, just like we're so glad we're not getting abused anymore, but also, they're not winning any games. But that's always going to be the case. When you have a big change, when a unit is so reliant, such as an Spire going down, by the way. Hello, Spire. That is good times. But when you've got a unit that's so critical to a race, such as the Infestor, it would be like, say, changing a Terran player's Marine. Like, it would just be absolutely... Well, maybe not quite as much as Marine. Maybe a tank. It would be just absolutely massive, and your strategies would have to be adapted so much, and all your timings, etc. Because ultimately, late game Zerg for a long period of time, and still probably is going to be Broodlord Infestor. It pretty much is the standard late game, but Infestors are slightly less good, and wow, this is a lot of Zerglings running under the Flying Shark. This third base was obviously scouted off here. Third base for Dylayn coming down as well, and, well, as you can see, LZ cleaning this up nicely, keeping his own base. Needs to be careful. The Zerglings do manage to get into the base. And, well, here we go. We've got a lot of damage coming through. It is going to start doing some really big damage here. Of course, we should see a couple of drones getting pulled off. But, obviously, just using stop command here, this is really, really clever. Just stopping them, all hugging the Queen. The Queen is therefore protected and able to do good damage. Great play. More Zerglings on their way through, though. This third base is taking some damage. Action going on absolutely everywhere for the time being. We do have the Infestation pit for LZ. The Spire just finishing up the Dylayn right now. And, well, most of these Zerglings are finishing. The important thing is this third base is able to stay alive. We've got pretty much everything pulled back. And what damage did that do? Only one worker killed. My goodness. This was so good for LZ, although he has been forced to make a lot of units. But the downside of going 2-base muter is, what if my opponent just comes and kills me? Well, guys, I don't mean to tell you what's going to happen here, but LZ, he is certainly in a good position to just come and kill Dylayn. And a handful of Mutalisks aren't really going to stop this. There's only 3 on the field, a lot more in production, but this third base is dead and gone. The Mutas will not be able to kill these Roaches before the Roaches kill the third. Obviously, behind this, LZ getting up some Spore Crawlers, exactly where he wants to be. And Overlord, actually, these Overlords are actually going to die to Spore Crawlers. That's amazing. Meanwhile, the third base going to go down. And, of course, this is just all so good. Roaches streaming into the main. Quite a few of these drones are going to get taken down now. This is absolutely fantastic. 6 workers already killed. And, to be honest, LZ in just such a dominating position for the time being. Mutas are out, obviously, 11 on the field, but these Roaches, they're running up, they're doing damage everywhere and anywhere they can, just trying to really pick off, snipe off anything. So many drones going down now. LZ taking the worker lead quite substantially, 10 worker lead there, and of course these Roaches are still in the base, are still running around. The Mutalisks trying to do as much damage as they can for the time being, but to be honest, this just isn't too much fun for Dylayn. The Spire's still up, that's the only plus side, and of course this push has finally been cleaned up at a what cost? 23 workers killed. That takes it 32 to 52 in LZ's favour. 20 worker lead. Infestors are out as well. Now that means if these Mutas clump up just like they are at the moment, huge damage is going to be done by Fungal Growth. But these Infestors do need to be careful. Losing an Infestor to Zerglings, you do not want to be doing that. Oh, the Infestors. Oh, the Infestors. The Infestors. A great transfuse goes off. The Infestors need to be so careful. Spore Crawlers, though, everywhere. Fungal Growth traps a few. Not quite as many as LZ would potentially have wanted, but good reactions out of Dylayn now. And, of course, Infestors at every base. Spore Crawlers at every base. And some of you might be sitting here and thinking, hey, that's a lot of Spore Crawlers per base, like 4 per base. Isn't that an overcommitment? Well, no, because LZ knows he's done huge economic damage. He's, well, nearly 20 workers ahead. So, if you're that far ahead in worker count, all you've got to do is not die. And that is exactly what he's doing. And those Infestors moving up. No Fungal Growth, but look at how stacked those Mutas are. Oh my goodness, this is stressful. GG, Dylayn knows he's not going to be able to do anything there. So, yeah, that means LZ takes the series 2-0. So, great play by him. If you did enjoy, make sure you subscribe, like the video, leave a cool comment, and I will catch you tomorrow for yet another new cast. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and bye for now.